Now, planning a vacation can be exciting, and if you're doing it yourself, it can also be kind of intimidating, right? Well, Sydney Waters with the Better Business Bureau says that there are definitely some best practices when you're searching out your summer destination, and the first is just knowing where to start. Here she is with more.
I'm as guilty as anybody. I'll type in like best restaurants near me, best hotels, best deal, but that's not always going to be your best deal.
Absolutely. And that's something even I am guilty of as well, or was in the past before I had this position. So yeah, the best way to get the best deal is just give yourself plenty of time to plan. Because when you start typing those tag words in your searches, you do become more of a target for these scammers looking for best deal, cheapest flights. And those may direct you to these phony websites that are just going to capture your information.
For criminals, this is probably a pretty profitable scam.
Definitely, it definitely is, and when you are vacation planning, often you're unfamiliar with the area,
Yeah.
so you don't know what looks credible and what doesn't. And so, of course, you can use BBB, but get recommendations. If the area you're going to has a local chamber of commerce or downtown association, contact someone there and see who they recommend using.
Now, what about timeshares, Sydney?
We had over $29 million in vacation related scams reported last year, and a huge chunk of that came from those timeshare
Hmm.
scams. And really, that's another one where they get you in the restrictions.
Okay.
There's so many restrictions on those timeshares, they make it almost where you can't use it.
Hmm.
So, and then, getting out of those timeshares as well, what you've signed on that fine print, you're stuck for a very extended amount of time as well.
I mean, they just lock you right in.
Yes, absolutely.
So, are there any other tips that vacationers need to keep in mind as they're making their big plans for the summer?
As always, we recommend if you're going to be shopping online, which most of these scams are online related scams, use a credit card. Credit cards are so much easier to dispute the charges and just easier to work with in general.
Well, thanks again, Sydney. I assume that everybody can go over to bbb.org and they can find all of these tips plus more additional tips right there on the website.
And before you get to your destination, check out the BBB scam tracker and see what scams are associated with your hometown as well as your destination to avoid falling victim.
No, that's another good tip. Yeah, thanks, Sydney. All right. Well, as always, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Rachel. I'll talk to you soon.